And we are live, hopefully, probably. Hello, everyone. Hello, Roasty Toasty, Ray Ray, Pumpernickel, and whoever else is here. Feel free to sound off in the chat. Nobody eats tomato ice cream. I mean, yeah, that's... I'm actually sure that's not true. I'm sure there's people who, that is an enjoyed flavor of theirs. But, no thank you. Yes, we're all talking about the nature of the Red Mage Soul Crystal and whether or not it is strawberry or watermelon flavored. And the eternal question as to why it's red, which I just can't help you with. I don't know what to say. Never say never, yeah. Okay, well, while we wait for people to trickle in here, why don't I go ahead and do a quick run of... Oh, I'm still missing that, aren't I? I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick run of... not Shadowbringers. Baelsar's Wall. See if I can get that triple triad card. Isn't that technically a sherbet? AC, what defines a sherbet? I feel like you of all people probably know the answer to this. It's like, is sherbet defined by being fruit or vegetable flavored? Because, like, I know orange sherbet, obviously, or rainbow sherbet, but I don't think I actually know what the definition is. Oh yeah, I'm sure you still love this dungeon, right? I'm sure you don't have any form of PTSD after, what was it, 30, 40 runs on it? How many, I don't think Hydra's here, but how many runs did Hydra have to go through Alamigo to get their Predator mount? Freaking crazy. I still need to get that too. Why am I not doing a full pull? Come on, man, you're solo and unsynced. How's everybody's week going? I feel like sherbet has different texture than ice cream. Does it? Someone quick, explain what sherbet actually is definitionally. Because I can tell you, like, well, I guess I can't even necessarily tell you qualitatively, but I can tell you in terms of, like, I know it when I taste it. I did 50 runs of Delridia and have the title to prove it. I did it too, but mostly just because the XP was so good and metal was so good. I actually got all the notes pretty early on, luckily. I'm still missing one note from Castrum, and I think it's my last note. And I die a little each time. Yeah, I die a little each time I have to work on it. If they do anything like the notes for the next Relic quest, I'm going to be making sure to hit that so hard from the initial launch when everybody's doing it. Do any other legatists have structures named after them? And yes, sherbet does. Yes, somewhere in the back of my mind there is something named after someone, but I need to call to mind what it is. Here, while we're dealing with the I can basically AFK this guy. By definition, it's fruit juice added to frozen dessert, so it's also like a sorbet, perhaps? Tomato is a fruit. Right, I guess, yeah. I guess that does make it a sherbet then, doesn't it? Well, okay, well then what's the difference between a sorbet and a sherbet? I grew up in the Midwest where, like, it's frozen custard. Ooh, excuse me. Frozen custard for days, but, the finer nuances of sherbet versus sorbets eludes me. Let's see. That's Thavner. I'm just seeing real quick if there's any places in Garlemald proper. I don't think so. No. Nope. Okay. Is there anywhere in Dalmasca named after Gabranth? I'm trying to think about my Dalmasca geography and any of the, I don't think any places were named. What about anywhere in the Baja Southern Front? I haven't had frozen custard. I just know it's got more sugar content than ice cream. There's more to it than that. But yeah. Sherbet is not quite ice cream and not quite sorbet. It's made with fruit and water, but also has the addition of dairy, usually milk or buttermilk. This gives a slightly creamier texture than sorbet, as well as a lighter pastel color. Give it to humans to be able to invent some very interesting delineation lines. Okay, what about Gearbania? There's at least a couple of their castrums. Although most of the castrums are descriptive of what they are rather than prescriptive of, or not prescriptive, just defined by the name of a famous leader. Livia's called the Witch of Dalmasca, but otherwise no clue. Yeah, I know there's definitely, there's a lot of people with different names, with different titles related to locales. I can't think of any other than Baelsar off the top of my head, but I mean, we haven't been to places like Nalmask, Corvos, Landis, so it's very possible that there are, and we just aren't fully aware of them. And there also may be airships that are potentially named after either current or past legati. I'd have to relook at all the different names. Would love a good melon sorbet. It's very refreshing in a hot place. Honestly, I don't find fruity stuff very refreshing. But I also don't like the taste of water, so don't trust me. Okay, after I get out of this, does anyone have a mount, a minion, or a trial, or anything else really that they want to get done? Now is the time. Speak up or forever hold your peace. Triple triad cards, anything. That is what this time is set aside for. Gaius used to be the Emperor's favorite legate, if I recall. Yeah, basically, effectively. I mean, part of it, right, is that he is so loyal and true to the Guardian. He is a Garlean's Garlean. In the best way, as far as it can be called, but also he was consistently got results. Like, so on top of not only being ideologically very representative of what Garlemald wants its people to be like, he also got shit done. Every time I'm at work and sweaty and hot, all I wanted is a fruit drink to quench my thirst. I mean, right now it's like 59 degrees Fahrenheit here, so it's the last thing in the world is I need something to quench the heat. It's not so much the fruit, just the amount of cold feeling it gives you in the mouth. Guys look surprisingly good for someone his age. Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty, unless someone's in their 50s, they typically look pretty good. Up until their 40s, people still look like Merlwyb's in her 40s. It's not until you get to your like 50s and 60s with people like Enzar and stuff that you really start to see people look more of an age. Oh, I didn't realize in the Baelsar's Wall theme you have a bit of the Gridanian theme. Oh, that's fitting. 59? I wish. I mean, well, the downside though is also I woke up and it was freezing. I used to live in Indiana, now I'm in Alabama. Oof. That is a... I mean, Indiana is still way warmer than Minnesota, but it is still not like Alabama. Hey, Hydra. Glad you're here. How many runs did it take you to get your Predator mount?
How'd you like these?
Slope. It had literally been so long since I played A Realm Reborn and like done this dungeon in general with the sound on. I had no idea that that was like a meme. Did I get it? Life is pain. It gets cold enough in Indiana. Yeah. No, I just remember it was like a relatively rough winter for Indiana. I mean, not rough. It was winter for Indiana, and it was like 45 on a cold day there. Like not a particularly cold day, but like a cold day. And so I was at that time of year, I was used to like 20 or 10. So it was like, oh, this is so much better. Over the entire course of months, I've been grinding over 100 easily. Jesus. As for the night I finally got it, 13. Wow. Well, congrats. I'm glad you got it. Hey, Abel. Let's let out all our sloppies right now. We never need to do it again, please. Yeah, I feel you, Abel. Hey, Eden. Would you say that Ilbert and Raban are about the similar skill level? No, I would say that canonically, Raban is way stronger and better than Ilbert. But that's like one of the reasons Ilbert's so surprised he is able to do what he does during 2.55, because Raban's out of practice. Raban at his height, and I would even say relatively currently, is a better fighter than Ilbert. I think you could make an argument that Raban one-armed against Ilbert at his absolute height right before he perishes is maybe an even match, but beyond that, I would definitely say that Raban is the better fighter. Okay, Abel, Eden, Hydra, Pumpernickel, AC, anyone else who's here, does anyone need a minion, triple triad card, trial, mount, or any other thing that they want to complete? Ah, I'm late. Hey, Knocked Out. Glad you joined. Don't worry, we just did a little bit of a warm-up run of Baelsar's Wall. So if anyone needs anything, please feel free to join in. We are on Crystal Zalera. Just let me know when you're logging in, pass me your character name, and I will invite you right away. Delayed getting here because I'm trying to figure out what my FC is doing. They're supposed to be doing a Shinryu puppy farm. Would love a good Sloppy Joe. Oh, God, I hate everything about Sloppy Joes. The taste, the texture. Just garbage. Haven't had one forever. That are good. Pulled pork. Pulled pork is the fucking best. Pulled pork is amazing. I'll join in a minute. I need to run to the store. Okay, Pumpernickel, see you in a second. Fortunately, I'm at work, so hopefully the rest of you guys have fun. Well, I'm glad. Thanks for joining in regardless, Eden. I appreciate that you're popping it up. Abel, I'm away from my keyboard, but I'll be back in a good few minutes. Sounds good. With that in the case, then, I guess we'll do another quick warm-up, and then we'll have Pumpernickel and Abel. It seems like it. What do we want to run second time? Let's go ahead and run Alamigo. On the off chance we get our Predator mount. Because it's a good fucking mount. Since I'm on Chaos, I won't be joining either, but I'm here for the banter. Well, thanks for joining in, Knockout. I really appreciate it. On top of that, I'm really excited for when the majority of the EU and JP and Oceania people are able to join in because of the cross-physical server transfers. I keep forgetting the nomenclature of which one's server travel, yada yada. The other thing is I'm going to probably be moving up the time for community streams by maybe 2 hours to make them in line with the MSQ streams, which I'm moving up an hour. So that way that any EU people who want to watch are not in bed by the time this begins. So if anyone here is EU or America and that's a problem for you, let me know so I can try to figure out what the best balance is. If nothing happens, I'd be glad to help with whatever, as long as I don't have to help grind Alamigo again anytime soon. I don't want to see it again until next year at minimum. Okay, yeah, Hydra, I would always love to have you along, so feel free to join in, and we won't run Alamigo after this one run. Luckily, I'm babysitting right now, so I got free time to chat. Awesome, Eden. Glad to have you around to speak to. AC, did you hate the Sloppy Joe scene with the lunch lady and Billy Madison? She knows they like the nice... That is such a specific call out, AC, although I feel like with the specificity of your questions in general, that's pretty fitting. We can't see stream chat, by the way. Roger that. Let's figure out what's going on with that. That'll be fine for a second. Chat's missing. Probably Stream Elements having a problem. Let's pop up. Alright, let's at least get past these guys. Thanks for telling me, by the way, when there's something's wrong. It's very hard to check and know all that stuff at the same time as doing stuff. I've been binging your 2 MSQ VODs lately. They're really fun to watch while just farming and chilling. Awesome, Knockout 1. I'm glad that they're in any way fun or useful for you, but on top of that, maybe somewhat vainly, I just appreciate that you're watching them. And it makes me enjoy the process a lot more, because there's always that a small amount of self-doubt of like, does anybody really like want to watch these after they're up? Should I just take them down? So I'm very much glad that they've been useful for you. I do want to try to figure out a more elegant solution for having them up in case, because I know as a person, I sometimes don't like it when there's clutter on a YouTube channel that's, you know, both the streams and the normal videos. And because we're going to be doing 3 stream videos a week, you know, that could quickly add up. But if you unlist them, then you lose all the views for the views for that those videos don't count on your channel. And so I've got to figure out what the best way to handle that is. I wish YouTube would just implement a thing where you could choose a feature that just says don't put on main page for different videos. I actually used Dancer for my grinding. The burst on the dance made each pull a breeze aside from the big one right after Scorpion buses from there are cakewalk. I mean, that's one of the benefits, right, of running something repeatedly, Hydra, is you, I'm sure, got it down to a frickin' science. It's just a black box in the bottom right. Yep, I'm gonna fix it in a sec, Hydra. Ironically, running some dungeon solo should be how others see the Warrior of Light, a one-man army. Yeah, that's an interesting... You know, we have that short video, right, on is the Duty Finder canon. And so there's some cases in which you're like, how could anyone be with you? But especially with the fact that they're adding the duty support system retroactively and probably the trust system or the duty support system for Heaven's Word and Stormblood. I think it'll depend on how they do it. There's still canonicity to it, but yeah, that is not an unfair way to look at it. So just yesterday, I finally defeated Yotsuyu, and now I'm sad. Yeah. I feel for you. You have my empathy and my understanding. That I very much love that story. I also think that story is underserved, and that's also one of the reasons I made the lyrical lore videos. And I'm going to be making more of them coming soon, but I loved making the lyrical lore video on Yotsuyu's theme because explaining the like Japanese lines and what they're saying and who they're supposed to be singing and referencing in it, and who the male lines are, the English male lines, is was a really fun time. I prefer watching them after they are up since I have a short attention span due to ADHD. I tend to watch for a little while, take a break, then come back to them. Well, awesome. If that works even better, then hell yeah. That's good to know. Thank you. A VOD channel, maybe? Yeah, the problem is that then I don't get any of the money from the views. And I also don't get... if people watch a video on one channel, they don't end up watching it on another. The other difficulty is if you on YouTube, there's no easy way to transfer the file because it's a long file, so then it takes a long time to upload and you can't do anything else while it's uploading, and on top of that you're going to lose some image quality because YouTube compression is crap. So a VOD channel really doesn't work great for a bunch of reasons, especially because we don't make a ton of money to begin with, so every dollar ends up really counting. But it's possible that may be where I go. I think I would first rather just do unlist and put them all in playlists if need be, but then that doesn't help people like Knockout in case they don't know about them and want to discover them. Your plan to make one for Flow, right? Yes, I am in the middle of finishing that one up. I don't know if it's going to come out this Wednesday or not, but it was a very emotional experience. I originally wanted to do them chronologically, but I hadn't done one in a while, and I was just really inspired to do one on Flow. I actually saw your video before the fight, so it hit me hard when the music kicked in. Oh, well, I'm glad it provided any even stronger feeling for it. Yeah. The music in this game is in and of itself phenomenal, right? But when any of the lyrical songs, when you pay attention to their lyrics and you understand the nuance and complexities going on within them, it's just another level. I still don't know why I'm single polling absentmindedly. You know what? After I kill this guy, let's go ahead and fix. Okay, right, we'll kill him. Let's get... Excuse me for being boring for a second while I figure out why stream's not showing up. did it go? Here, let's get Owless at least. Oh, also, for those of you who've played Endwalker, for those of you who haven't played Endwalker, just in case, I will, especially because, what, Eden, was it? You just said that you just did Yotsuyu, right? So maybe I'll talk more vaguely. Alice uses an ability here, which ends up being relevant in a certain part of Garlemald of Endwalker. So, worth noting that there's actually setup for that certain thing and when it's it being used in the MSQ. And I will point it out here in a second.
Initiate soul extraction.
This one.
Success. The soul rebels. My word. This
How about we all just give him money with his Patreon with the link in the description of this live? Abel, 1, thank you for the general thought and statement. And 2, thank you for the plug. Very much appreciated. Yeah, one of the things that would really... This most recent video, how well it did and how many subscribers we got off of it, hopefully really means well for the future. Because if we can just earn a relatively small amount of money, the entire channel becomes so much more stable and so much more able to do certain things. You know, just like things like get a camera that's not 30 FPS, or, you know, that like things like that, but also things if we want to do art for a video, or we want to be able to go to FanFest and do interviews, or, you know, just all sorts of things. It allows us to begin to do that because currently we've been earning not even quite $100 a month just from YouTube videos. And then Patreon, luckily, would get us to, you know, about $60 more than that. But hopefully, but with a lot of the new views and a lot of the new patrons, so for any of you who are, thank you so much. Both like just on a pragmatic and practical level, but also on a just personal level. I almost forgot about Owless. His end is kind of basic. Yeah, he kind of just goes out and you don't really realize it. When I did Endwalker, I even pointed out how I was so upset at how underutilized Owless seemed to be, thus was just as full circle for what I was wanting to see. Yeah. Let's figure out what's going on with the overlays. Let me know if it starts working now. Or actually, I can probably test it on OBS, can't I? Interesting. On my screen, it works fine. Duplicate. Let's try this. I wonder why it's not working. I've got an idea. I'm gonna try something. Let's try that, see what happens. Hi, Mike. Good to see ya. Sorry that chat isn't popping up right now. Not quite sure what's up. Glad to have you. Alice does seem to fill that mad scientist in a flying chair trope. Yeah, I mean, he really does. He is that classical character, right? I had it down to muscle memory to the point the only part I actually paid attention to aside from the final chest was the big pull. FC is doing Shinryu Pup Farm still starting now. We'll be in chat watching, though. Sounds good, Hydra. Have a good time. Okay. still not showing up. Let's try. We'll see if that works at all. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I will just have to make sure to read all your guys' stuff out. Remember the Gaz and Mez joke about these two here? From Dragon Ball Z. I mean, they're the red and blue Oni. They're both rooted in the same thing. A test of your reflexes. Wrong fight. Greetings from your newest Eorzean Archon. Hey, Brian, glad to have you. Thanks so much for the support. Always super appreciative, which I'm sure is kind of just thank you. It's still wild, still pretty wild to get used to. IDK, if you said anything about this earlier, but I know you have done videos about Reaper and Red Mage, but are you planning to do any more job class work? Yes, we have. So what happened was I started to do them. And we didn't get a lot of views of them at first because we were smaller. And I was just like, okay, these are a lot of work. I'm going to back off and do other things for now. Then I did Reaper because I was just really inspired to. But I wasn't quite happy with the format still. I finally nailed down the format of how I want to tackle them. And so I'm starting to work on the scripts for them. The reality is it's just that the amount of time I have to work on videos and work on stream and other real life work as well, all kind of... it makes it that I haven't had as much time to get them all done as one. But they are in the process of being made. The next one is probably Dark Knight. Probably. And I even may remake the ones I've done already if I'm depending on how. If I don't stay as happy with them. But because there's other videos like I want to get done, like my flow video, or there's another video I don't want to spoil coming up probably in the next week or two. It's just a time thing, but yeah, they're absolutely coming. And not to push the point, but the more frankly, the more money that we make from Patreon and videos, the less I have to do other work, like normal job work, and therefore the more I can devote time to videos. So yeah. Honestly, also the streams have been really revitalizing because I've actually been kind of burnt out lately. But having people to engage with and talk to you guys, and also get to play the game, because while making the videos, I don't get to actually play the game that much because I'm gathering footage, I'm doing research, but that's not playing. So there were often even like a week where I would go without doing any daily because I just didn't have time. How does Xeno stand upright with that heavy sheath on his hip? I mean, the man has the physical abilities of the man are such that I don't think that matters all that much to him. I mean, that armor must weigh a ton, and yet it doesn't matter at all to him. Oh, good. We didn't get the Predator on the first run. Otherwise, Hydra would yell at us. Chat is working now? Okay, good. Whatever I did, I have guesses as to what might have worked. But on the bright side, you can now see each other. God, I love the job class lore videos you guys have done. I'll look forward to seeing the next one. Awesome, Eden. I'm really glad. There are quite a few videos people have told me they love that I'm like, I only see all the flaws in it. I'm like, oh, I could do that so much better now. So I'm glad you enjoy it, and that is very reassuring. I understand. Looking forward to it. I have plenty of other lore to catch up on anyways. Yeah, Knockout. I will. You're not the only one. Multiple people have asked, so it's I think a much larger priority. And again, with like the more patrons we have, thanks to people like Brian, or you know, the fact that getting more views and subscribers means that YouTube views alone will get us more money, means that I think I will have more time to hopefully produce job videos and such faster. I am being traded, but I do not know by who. I don't know who this is, but they just traded me 69 420 guilds. I don't know if that was a viewer or not, and I kind of hope it wasn't, because that's hilarious. Oh, the devotion of people to this game. And he's wearing a dwarf hat, too. Oh, he's just giving people. Oh, that's. What a Chad. What a Chad. Nice. Nice. Socialization can be recharging even to introverts like me. Yeah, Eden, me too. I think the fact that I can do it while doing A Realm Reborn and that I have to do the voices and talk to everyone is such that like it makes A Realm Reborn fun to replay and like more ingrained in my memory, and it just can be energizing while also being able to have alone time afterwards. Anyone coming in? I think there were a couple of you who said you had a little thing to do last we checked. I know that Pumpernickel should be around relatively soon. Was it Abel, I believe? If anyone has a minion, a trial, a mount, a triple triad card, any little thing you want to get done that you'd like to do with company, that would just be faster with an extra hand, today's the day. That's what Saturdays are for. Community live streams are all about getting people together to try to accomplish things. Previous week we did Heaven on High. We've done a lot of mounts and minions. We've done trials. We've gotten people through EX trials before. Nice. Yeah, I mean, good income. Yep. Absolute Chad. Yep. There's a guy I'm friends with who just gives people hundreds of Aldico milk. What would be a funny item to give people that you can buy a bunch of off the marketplace? I am, but give me a bit more time. Cool, Abel. That's totally fine. I mean, I have a blast watching the MSQ content too, so keep them coming if that's what feels good to do. It does. Both feel fun. Honestly, trying to do 2 videos a week was draining, especially because you didn't get a lot of engagement and feedback. And also, I would make a video that's, 30 minutes long with a bunch of research like Rogadin. And it just didn't do very well, which is fine. Like, it's a 30-minute video that's usually not very super promoted by YouTube. They usually prefer 15 to 20-minute videos. It's not super catchy, but, putting a crap ton of work into putting out Rogadin and then also having to put out an End Talkers or another video out in the same week just like constantly was draining and not energizing. But now being able to put out 1 video a week plus any that I just get done as I can get done and getting to do MSQ with you all is just the past week it was just wildly successful. Do you have all the old EX mounts, bird, dogs, and dragons? I am actually missing, I think, every dragon, because I just never, during Shadowbringers, I didn't have anyone to do EX with, and every time I tried to do Party Finder, it didn't go great, and I just went, I'm setting this to the side, it's not my priority, there are other things I want to get done, and especially the past year, I have been so focused on the Eorzean Archives that I often don't have time to play the game. Like right now, I've only cleared P1S Savage, and other than that, I just haven't had time to get a group together to do more. My static is a lot of people who are relatively newer to the game, and we've been going through the entirety of every Savage in order. So we're currently up to Alexander A8S. Over the past couple months, we've gotten started from the very beginning of Bahamut to there, and the plan is to go all the way up to current. Though we're thinking after we beat Omega, we're gonna do Ultimate Uwu. Just watching tonight. Got back from grocery shopping. Okay, Power. Thanks for joining in. I always appreciate if you guys are watching at the very least. I won 999 boiled eggs in a fashion competition. What fashion? What? Is it just lol random, or was there any point? I still want the Gwibbers. Yeah, me too, Hydra. I think one of the next things I'm gonna try to actively get people together to do is get the dragons. The issue, right, is you really do need an 8-stack for that, even unsynced, to do it fast in any way. And we usually haven't had 8 people who have been online, are North America, and had the level or wanted to do it. So that's going to be a thing that either I'm going to do a looking for group for in our Discord, or potentially just set very well in advance, say like, hey, here's what we're doing this community stream. And if we don't get an 8-stack for it, what we can do is just put it up in the duty finder. Uwu indeed, Eden. I met a guy that had 3K frogs on him. I don't know why, but he enjoyed frogs, I suppose. Was he wearing the frog outfit? At the very least, I would hope that, right? Okay, well, we wait for Abel for a second. And Pumpernickel. What's a really weird item that there's a crap ton of? Oh, no, obviously, yeah, it's all the high-level items because... No, okay. Oh, there's got to be, like, a really cheap crystal or something. No, magnum is going to be too high. What about something like sapphire? Because sapphire is my birthstone. Yeah, okay. We're just gonna buy up all the sapphire in the market. Ooh, wow, no, that's expensive, Jesus. Hope no one needs sapphire for doing a story quest or something. Nope, just some dude with a frog collection. As you do. Oh, hey, Pumpernickel. Pumpernickel, what is it that you need to get done currently? You got Belsar's Wall done. So is there another triple triad card you need? You know, frog legs surprisingly taste like tougher chicken. I don't know why. Okay, let's take that as granted. Why would you want tougher chicken? Like, at that point, I just want chicken. Why do they call it oven if you in the cold food of out hot eat the food? Okay, we're taking a second here. Oven etymology. We're answering this. Fuck it. Okay, it's yeah, okay. Old English, Dutch, ofen, related to the Dutch oven, and German ofen, from Indo-European root shared by Greek ipnos. What's ipnos mean? Huh. With a town or location. Okay, wait, there's gotta be more to this than that. Oven. Old English ofen, furnace. Oven, chamber or receptacle in which food is baked or cooked by continuous heat or radiation. From the Proto-Germanic ukhans. Source also of Old Frisian Dutch oven. Old High German ovan. German ofen. Old Norse ofen. Old Swedish ugen or uden. Gothic ons. From pie, aquin, puking pot, Latin aula, pot. Oh! So in Latin and Greek, it comes from something that is like a pot or something that is hollowed out. And that's how it becomes oven. By the way, if you ask me questions, I will fucking get the answers because I need to know. So don't you meme on me. I will give you lore and information, even if it's the real world. I need answers. Eating frog's legs is like eating dino nuggets. It's for the looks and not the taste. Okay, no, Dutch oven, yep. Containment Bay Z1T9, Fractal Continuum Hard, Castrum Fullness. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Let's do, actually, let me check my list real quick. Let's see what crosses over. FXIV collect. Also, if any of you want to keep track of things like triple triad cards, what mounts you have, there's a website called FinalFantasy14collects.com. And it is very freaking handy in terms of if you want to be able to track what you need and what you have. Not that the new update doesn't help in and of itself quite a bit. Do I need Zervain? Let me look. I do not. Does not look like I do. Okay. Okay, well, then let's go ahead and we'll do Zervain and, anyways, because that's a pain in the ass. It's not a pain in the ass, it's just not. Better with company. Unrestricted, all ready to go. Let's hit it. Just going off what it's telling me in the actual game, I'll need to bring up the website. Yeah, go for it, Pumpernickel. Hell's Lid, Jade Stoa. I think I need at least a couple of those as well. Abel, good to know. Hopefully that provided information for you. That just sounded like an IKEA shopping catalog with those words. Well, I mean, it's not entirely that, you know. A lot of them are rooted from the same Proto-Germanic, so, you know, it's not, you're not wrong. Actually, I do need to finish the Four Lords dungeon to unlock Seiryu. Okay, well, come on, join in. Abel, why don't we do that together? Hell's Lid, right? That would... Four Lords dungeon to unlock Seiryu. Wait, Seiryu? Or do you mean Swallow's Compass at that point? I forget. What's the order of operations for that? What's the point of the Phoenix sound in this game? I swear it hasn't worked any time I've ever tried to use it. The point is, in a world before we had the quality of life and sort of things that they are now, the ability to revive someone who was downed in, like, Vanilla Realm Reborn, like, out in the field if they were killed or something, was a much more useful thing. There were a lot of more contexts in which it made more sense, and now it's not technically a legacy item, but it kind of feels like it at this point, in most cases. So at least to me, there may be someone who has a point or disagrees, that they can... Oh, hey, did I get... Wow, Zervain off the first one. I hope you got it too, Pumpernickel. Where do you go? Oh my god, you're so tiny. Oh, actually, since we're here. So, one thing that's worth noting about the three representations is that this is not necessarily supposed to be a literal representation, but so far, this is one of the clearest images we have of what Mericidia, parts of Mericidia might have looked like. From between looking at certain structures and how it was war-torn after Alag came in and messed it up something fierce. What's the holy crap, I got two. You got two? You can get two in one go? I've done up to Byakko. Okay. Zervain card and demon. Oh, nice. Nice. Do you mean the demon totem? Because the demon totem you get every time you beat him. If the Duty Finder's canon, does that mean all the people yelling at me for not healing are canon too? You know? Okay, wait, this is a different question. Duty Finder's canon is chat canon. Now that is a different question. And I think you can make an argument that it's not. No, I'm an idiot. Demon totem. Yeah. We're good, Pumpernickel. Finish the Four Lord Dungeons. Okay, so we'll wait for Abel for a real quick second. Unless, Abel, you've got a little bit, and then we can just run something else real quick. But in the meantime, I want to check in terms of order of operations. Yeah, because there's Game of Dark, same on Burn. Yeah, because there's Swallow Compass and Hell's Lid. Those are the two dungeons associated with the Four Lords stuff. Although the Swallow's Compass, is that even required for the Four Lords? Is that just an optional? I cannot remember. Fair point, yeah. If Yoshida is in the duty, it's canon. I always consider it a 6 reference as it mirrors looking out of Kefka's tower. Yeah, and there's also quite a possibility that there's like 6 references in Mericidia as well. But we know that it is tied to the imagery of Sephiroth, Zervain, and Sophia's arenas. Shouldn't be taken literally. Aspects of them may be informative of parts of the civilizations and structures of Mericidia. You can all just run something in the meantime. Sounds good. You said fractal continuum hard, right? Let's hit that. Hey JT, glad to have you. Ooh, Abel, when we get to do it, we'll also get to do it synced, which means I can actually play the game for a second rather than just being a demon flying through all the enemies. Oh, actually, since we're here, go ahead, Pumpernickel. We got lore, we gotta read it, right? Navigator's log, day 1. Too soon to fly, the other said, but prove them wrong I will. Find our paradise, I must. A Hydaelyn, which is the basically heaven or paradise of the Ixal. So this is an Ixali flew into here and crash landed. One of the Ixal 9? And basically this is him discovering the origins of the Ixali. Because the Ixali, unlike all the other races, are not... they're not natural, in a sense. And I'm sure some of you are already well aware of that, but I know I've met multiple people who played this entire dungeon and did not realize that was like the primary big reveal. 76 cards to go. A lot of them I'll be able to get playing. Good, good, good. But if chat isn't canon, does that mean everyone who shows up doesn't say a word to each other but still decided to fight this evil dude? Yeah, in my mind, right, especially if you think about summoning people through the power of a Zem, you're summoning them in that moment, it's like, no words are said, it's straight into battle. There's not time to talk to each other. You could argue for dungeons that all the conversations happen beforehand, and once you're in the dungeon, you're going, you gotta get... this is just my take on it, though. I think you can argue that it's canonical and that people are able to communicate, right? Both in the chat, but also not diegetically, there are people with chat bubbles and stuff. I would just contend that the way that we're not supposed to think too hard about it. That is literally, like the devs have said, just don't think too hard about it. But the way I would look at it is assume that even when you're playing with players right now, think of it like a duty support system. So effectively, you are playing with NPCs within the lore. I love it. I love it because, warning, warning, armed intruders detected, activating defense systems. I love the mother bit because literally, tomestones are just data, like flash drives, and this literally looks like a flash drive or a SATA drive. And so it literally is just the thing that they're hearkening on to. Good stuff. The Ixali has some dialogue later in the dungeon. Yep. Yes, he does, Hydra. We've got more things to look at in the future. No words, just kill. I like it. Yeah, I mean, I would say that's my take. My take is effectively you should be thinking about other players as NPCs who you've talked to beforehand. Critical error occurred, unable to communicate electrochemical transfer. Please submit error log. This is crazy to me. I'm trying to read that thing as fast as possible, right? And even I can't get through that before it disappears. Those things are too long for how quickly they go away. And this has always been the case. And it's a big issue in places like Boja, where like most of the lore is in, I mean, it's in the notes, but it's also in those. Ignore these creatures, but why? Filled with drones, the sky was swift and sure. Their attacks were by some miracle. I'm alive, but severely damaged. The airship was parts for repairs I need. So yeah, if you look at these were the housings for etherochemical creations of Alag. And if you look, the glyphs on them are the same that you see in the Labyrinth of the Ancients as well as the Circus Tower. So not only do you see the typical, like, Dalamud-esque electrical circuitry sort of thing, but you also have the same glyph structures and architecture. Where they come from, by the way, other time or shard? Do you mean the Ixali? The Ixali were, well, we'll get to that in a second, but they were effectively created by Alag. They are a derivation of a creation by Alag. So here. This is the original. Those creatures mistake me for this, I fear. These are what the Ixali originally were. And my brain is breaking. What are they called? Someone put it in chat. I know it's a very commonly known name. How is this possible? Strongly resemble the Ixali. So this is what they were like, and eventually they became this. And Azis La is the Atlan, their heaven. But it turns out their heaven is actually just the place that they were manufactured. My headcanon is that everyone shows up, but they're extremely introverted, so no one dares to speak first. It's legitimate. Do we know much about Alag? I don't think I paid much attention to them. Knockout, I mean this I don't mean this in any negative way. I mean this sincerely. Is that a joke? Because the answer is yes. We know a lot about Allag. We know a crap ton about Allag, almost more than any other civilization, and they are the progenitors of most problems, and yeah, we know a metric crap ton about Allag. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Besides Xande and the Crystal Tower people, yes, we know quite a bit. Also, here's the prototype for the ultimate weapon. Also the prototype for the G Warrior. If you notice, this is actually even the same, basically the same model. Besides Xande and the Crystal, yeah, Chimera, yeah, they were Chimera, effectively, that were then further experimented on and further released into. I also love this fight because you see Sophia, Sephiroth, and where's Sylvain? Sylvain's over here, but he hasn't activated him yet, I guess. Oh, I don't even need to stand on you. You'll be fine. You're a warrior. I mean, the Duty Finder guys. Oh, okay. They come from, in canon, we don't know for sure. Effectively, because of what we learn in 5.3, the answer is yes. They could come from any of those places, and it doesn't matter too much. All it matters is you are summoning a people from across space and time, whether it be from your shard or another. Well, we don't effectively know time more in the sense that the shards are not contiguous in time, but not necessarily that, like, oh, you're drawing people from the past to the present. But yeah, effectively, because of what we see Elidibus do, it seems pretty possible that they are from other reflections. I did not pay attention, quite simply. Yeah, no worry, Knockout. We also will do an End Talkers on Allag specifically sooner rather than later. We're just trying to get through the city states at the moment. But I've wanted to do a, like, history of Allag video. But that would have to be by nature at the minimum 30 minutes, if not an hour long. And that's just, those videos don't do as well. It's just a sad reality. And also take a lot, you know, to make a video that's 15 minutes takes a quarter of the time it takes to make a video that's an hour long. Except for that's not even necessarily true, because there are either further complications that come around with something being even longer. But yeah, I would love to answer any questions you have about Allag. Or at the very least, if I don't know the answer, I know where to find it. 90% of the time. Pretty much thinking is that if you're running MSQ or MSQ adjacent, like Job and Rollcast, we're the Warrior of Light. Otherwise, like if we're doing duty roulettes, we're hired adventure for the Warrior of Light. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty safe to go with. I mean, the thing is, effectively, once we have duty support system and trust for everything, that would be the effective way to think of what canon is. Oh. Thank you, Pumpernickel. To be honest, the summoning magic needs consent. Those of the other end have to heed your call. Yeah, that's, from what we know, that is the case. AC, so that's a worthwhile pointing out. But we also know that the call could go cross-world, it could go across the realms. There's a bunch of different ways it might be felt. We don't know the exact metaphysics of it, but broadly. I now have the Shinryu Pupper. Nice, Hydra. Awesome. Idea, split them into parts. Oh, yes. Yeah, potentially. The difficulty is you also have huge drop-off when you split things into parts. So that may be what we do. But you also have the problem that there are pros and cons. If you keep them all as one, you may have someone watch 40 minutes in and then skip out and then leave before they finish the final 20 minutes. If you split them into four 15-minute ones, you may have someone watch the first one and part of the second one, but not watch or the first one, but not watch the second or third or fourth, or don't know that the second, third, or fourth came out. That's not a bad idea. There's just constant trade-offs you have to consider about, and the topic changes drastically the best way to approach it. It's really hard to gauge always what's the best choice. I still want this dungeon's final boss as a mount, especially if they give the battle to the death. Yeah. Oh, well, mounting... Well, no, there's space in the back, crook of the back there. They could do what they do for Behemoth. I mean, it's basically a modified Behemoth model. I bet you that happens someday. Hydra. Sometimes it has a tongue-in-cheek answer, like for Susano. Yeah, where they kind of like... They kind of, nod at the idea in a humorous way. Like, maybe you'll find some adventurers around here. It's worth noting that existed in a time before the Shadowbringers had an actual answer to late Shadowbringers on what we're doing in some cases. But especially with the fact that now we're going to have duty support, I wouldn't even. We've seen things be rewritten a little because of the introduction of duty support. I wouldn't be surprised if they even rewrote certain lines for Stormblood like that, or they kept it and the duty support system is such that it still works. It still is taken as it is. So like the people you. For instance, I can imagine a world in which you fight Susano and you use the trust system where you have, Lise. Who do you have at the time? Lise, Gosetsu. I don't know. Do you have Yugiri at that point? But you have Alice, you have Alfino. So you could just imagine that you have them as a trust for like Stormblood. Like and it would change a little bit during different times, right? Like you might gain Hien, you might lose another character. But yeah, I don't know how they'll play that. Where did the Algans have their home base, so to say, Azazla? No, their home base was where the Crystal Tower was. It was in Mordona. It was around Silvertear, so in here is where their main base would have been. And they spread out from there. Azazla was effectively a giant research facility that was created in the waning days after they attacked Mericidia, and it basically became an icon research facility, and so it was mainly dedicated to things around that. That's also why, if you look in Azazla, there seems to be parts of structures from Mericidia built, torn from the land within it. If you look at, if you go into Azazla and you go into the cathedral, for instance. Alvis, you are my friend. I don't know if you're here to play with me, and I'm forgetting who this is. If you are in chat, please let me know. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting who everyone's names are. Speaking of Shard, what about a video about the history of Norvrent? I'm gonna do it. I'm doing everything else I'm not going to do Norvrent stuff right as of yet. I want to see if we're gonna get an Encyclopedia Eorzea Volume 3 anytime in the next 6 months to a year. Because there's so many things to cover already, and the thing is that we are going to learn so much about the first from an Encyclopedia Eorzea Volume 3 that I'm really tentative to try to do all that research, because trying to get all that research together is hard, especially when you don't have a starting point like a compendium like the Encyclopedia Eorzea. So I think Norvrant's going to be on the back burner of most of the things for now. In the living quarters of Azazla, the name escapes me at the moment. Wow, I got it. The back of it does remind me of a big generic main antagonist of Final Fantasy X. Finally played it. Yeah, Abel, I was just thinking it looks like the city's on Sin's back. Yeah, it totally does. I was literally just thinking that. Random adventures. Can't really have them in trials due to no primal protection at the time. Yeah, but we already have, like, you can't use duty support for a bunch of the trials already. So, for the same reason and others, and also just mechanically difficult. So that wouldn't be surprising. Although there's only really a very finite amount of trusts or trials that you can even use trust in anyways. I would love for them to expand the map of Norvrant more, maybe in a few expansions, and add new zones that have been restored there that we can explore. Me too, Dragonstar. There's. Oh, also, hey, Dragonstar. The issue is that what we seem to understand from the effects of what happens after Eden is that the restoration is going to take many, many, many years before anything like that happens. So you'd have to have a time skipped. And while I'm not saying that's impossible, I'm not sure that they're going to do something like that, because it could not. The world will not be restored in any meaningful way over the course of 6 months to a year. They probably only do it if they had good story to tell there, though. Yeah, and if they do have a good story to tell, far and away do it. As long as they have good story to tell, I'm happy for them to do just about anything. So the Crystal Tower was like a capital city. It was the heart of the Empire, not necessarily their capital city. It was their throne. It was the throne of the Empire, but we don't know for sure if it was exactly where their capital was, because there were multiple cities all throughout. Can't wait for the lore book. Yeah, me either, Dragonstar. We're like a giant power plant placed in the middle of the capital city. Yeah. It's quite possible, because the thing is, you have the Labyrinth, the Circus Tower, but we also don't know how much of the cities fell below the ground after the Fourth Umbral Calamity. But we also have the issue on top of that of... There's places like... So if we look to... You look at St. Quinac's Find, right? And that looks like city and civilization. So it's quite possible that that was where a lot of their major city is. But we also know for sure that there are other places where they had cities, like major cities, because you have things like the Royal Allegan Sunway and Royal Allegan Starway in Hydaelyn, as well as specifically you have Byrogot's Strike here, where we know there's Allegan structures in and around this area. So there at some point was a civilization somewhere in and around the Sigoli Desert, or there was an Allegan city there, and most likely elsewhere as well. The other thing about like the thing is we know that in the Third Astral Era during the first era, basically the first half of the Third Astral Era, when the rise of Allag and Emperor Xande, his first incarnation, they ruled from here and then spread out and took over Eorzea. Then Xande dies, and over 700 years, his descendants take over Ilsabard and Othard. And then after 700 years, Amon comes around, or a golden era begins for about 300 years, and there's just peace and prosperity among the three great continents. And then you have Amon comes around, sees the decay and the utter sadistic decay that's becoming of the civilization, and resurrects Xande the Second, who then goes on a warpath to take over Mericidia down here. But yeah. Hello. The boss was actually ultimate weapon from 6. Yeah. Very true. We need some mechanism to open those areas up. Yeah. And again, I'm happy with the time skip. I'm happy with, okay, we are able to restore the 13th, and so by which we find a mechanism that allows for the rapid rebalancing of both umbral aether to a more equilibrium and an astral aether to a more equilibrium, because we know it can happen at all thanks to the Eden, which means that the 13th can also be saved, which is why all the void stuff is very interesting currently. Well, there's tons of reasons it's very interesting, but as of now, I would assume not. Also, if no for no other reason, then we have Mericidia to go to, New World to go to, the Void to deal with, other reflections to journey to, the Sea of Stars to go out and explore. There's so many things to tackle already that the need, especially with the nice bow that's put on the end of the first beginning towards World Renewed, at the end, by the end of Eden and Shadowbringers, is such that I don't know that they can tell almost any other story that they want to tell in that kind of place, they could do elsewhere and perhaps should to broaden the horizons of the worlds. But I not to say I'm not with the idea, Dragonstar. Ramsdale, hello. Recently got recommended one of your videos and subbed immediately after watching. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Okay, just every time you guys come on and say you recently subbed or you found them by accident or you like the videos or just, I really appreciate it, because I put a lot of work and time into them, and it is really nice to hear that it matters. Oh, hey, Abel. There we go. Lovely glam. Very Mists of the Realm, and I love your spear. So thank you very much, Ramsdale. Also, Corvos was important to Allag too, right? Yeah. It was a hub for a lot of Allagan secrets. What that particularly means, we don't know. It could be installations like what happened with the Diablos armament. It could be all sorts of things. We know that the G tribe and the descendants of Grahatia's forebearers made sure to keep the secrets there under lock and key, meaning that they were probably dangerous in some way. It could be that there's Az's Law style information. It could be any manner of things, but we know that Corvos has a lot of Allagan things in it. Okay. Let's, Abel, which dungeon is it that you need to do, or trial? Let me know in chat. You can message me in party, or you can message me here. Do we know where the Allagans came from, what their origin was? I mean, they're just the same peoples as, I mean, they're mostly Hurrian. They were multicultural, so they were Elazin and Hurrian, but they were probably a part of the Hurrian migration from Ilsabard to Eorzea sometime during the second and third astral. There were multiple great migrations from Ilsabard to Eorzea. Based on their geography, they probably would have been predominantly Elazin and Hur. That's what I can say. You can also look to Amon's ears, which are Elazin ears, and his height. But the fact of the matter is that we don't know how much Amon tinkered with his own biology. We know quite a bit. So it's possible that those aren't even representative of what he was actually like. I think Swallow's Compass, although I do need to go actually unlock it. Cool. I'll let you go do that, and I will catch up with chat first. I'm happy to be heavily distracted by Mericidia for a few words. Yeah, me too, Dragonstar. I very much think that I've been saying it for about a year to probably like a year to 18 months now, I think Mericidia is 7.0, and I think 6.1 to me does a lot to really further that. And there's a lot of themes that I'm really excited for them to tackle, because you have the fallout of Garlemald, you have the legacy of Alag, you have there's the legacy of Empire is such a common motif. It is such an important motif right now that dealing with Mericidia and the fall, it has never recovered fully from what happened with Alag in the Third Astral Era. And so dealing with those fallouts, both and paralleling Garlemald and it coming to terms with its tragedies it's beset upon people, and that legacy and moving beyond and trying to heal from it. And in parallel that to Alag and Mericidia, who they never were able to fully heal or move beyond it. I think there's a ton of narrative room to do some really interesting stuff there. Also, the way in which they're touching on the Void and dragons and a lot of that stuff also very works into Allagan stuff and Mericidian stuff. We're also geographically set up to be it being a really good staging point, because we still need to visit the majority of, we haven't been to Hingashi proper, just Kugane, really. And we really need to go to Corvos badly for all the amount of lore and important things tied to Garlemald and other stories that are relevant to it. And since Mericidia is down here, both of those could act as relatively decent staging grounds to travel southward. I also really, really, really want to go to Eorzean so bad. Oh, I really want to go to Eorzean, home of the Roganin. I'll wait for Abel to tell me they're ready. Let me get, if you enjoyed the stream, thank you, Ray Ray. Thank you, Ray Ray, as always. Personally, I would love to play as the villain role again, like Shadowbringers of the Future expansion. Be the hero painted as the villain and save whatever needs saving. Yeah, I don't know we'll see that same thing, but I can imagine a way in which our role in the world is more complicated than just the hero or adventurer. You think about the legacy of not just imperialism, but think about North America and its history, and then think about going to the New World and just being an adventurer, maybe a more complicated role than in the past. I still just want to explore more of Ilsabard and actually be able to look up at the part of the map. You and me both. So we have, right? We know that we've got Boja over here, we've got Whirlit over here, we've got Corvos over here, and then we've got now Mask somewhere over here, and Landis probably somewhere over here, and the Ilsabardian mountain range is somewhere in here. But we need to show us, and there might even be more places hidden in there, but those are what we can speak to. It's really exciting to look forward to all the directions they can go now with future stories. Dragonstar, I totally agree. And it's so funny to me, before 6.0, some people are like, where are they going to go? There's nothing less to do after this. I'm like, there's so much left to do. I thought there was a different racist in Sante's absolute unit of a dude. He's an absolute unit of a dude because of Amon's machinations, and he basically twisted his physiology in order to make him like that. We actually just talked about this at Lore Book Club, so if you want to join in our reading of Encyclopedia Eorzea Volume 1 and talking about it, we have a Lore Book Club every Friday in the Discord, and you can feel free to sign up for the events for that. We just covered, actually, the Third Astral Era and Alag. But yeah, great time to learn and stuff. And if you need a copy of Encyclopedia Eorzea Volume 1, I can get you one. So don't worry that if you don't have a copy. Amon being more like an Elizin and Greg being possibly Roganin is fun. Yeah. Also, it might be a strange question, but speaking of Mericidia, is that the New World everyone was talking about? No, the New World is out here to the east. You know what? Let's go real quick while we wait for Abel. Yeah, no worries, Abel. Take whatever time you need. We're having a good time here. I'm gonna go show knockout. Let me do this. I think this will be a better imagery. Do you think Allagan knew how to travel between shards? No. Other than the 13th. But also the 13th has been repeatedly shown to have some kind of weaker barrier between it and the other shards. Which is why it seems readily accessible. Be that a byproduct of its fall, of its astrality, I'm uncertain. Probably both. But other than their ability to tear a hole into the 13th, I don't think that they have the capacity to travel to elsewhere. Except Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is actually canon in all FF games. Yeah, Gilgamesh is also partially a joke, though, as well. But yeah, he's an interesting example. I wonder if they will let us go to the New World. Very curious, and also hello everyone. Hey Renzar, they will. I think the New World's just a question of when, not if, and it's going to be, I would assume, a 8.0, 9.0 sort of thing. I can imagine that after doing a terrestrial thing with Mericidia, they might want to do a reflection. Give me a second real quick, and knockout, this will be a good way to show off the geography. Give me a second real quick. There we go. So, if we go here, so this is Mericidia down here, this is Ilsabard up here, Othard over here, and Eorzea, or Aldenard over here. And if you go, so this is Eorzea, and if you go east, you have the New World. So you've got the northern part over here, and then the southern part over here. So we're very much in the northern hemisphere, like by a lot. Like Ilsabard's almost at the very top of the world, and that's why also the Blind Frost is so crazy. But so you've got Othard over here, and then Kugane over here. You got like the Blind Frost up there. Like the North Pole is not that far away from the top of Ilsabard. He got caught in interdimensional rift and pops out in each new FFW World universe. Yeah. Hi, Zod Arc just gave them too much to focus on to get all those other areas, but now the whole map is up for grabs. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Dragonstar. And I think they did it the right way, right? I think the pacing is what it is and has made the world feel much faster for it. Oh, that's huge. Yeah, the New World is enormous. It is literally the size of the 3 gig continents on their side. It is, like, that's why the New World can't be, in my mind, 7.0, or, like, it's a ways out, because it is not only just an expansion in and of itself, you could potentially make 2 there. I don't think they would. I think they'd make 1, but it's going to be huge. Mericidia is akin to Australia. Australia mixed with a little bit of Northern Africa. But yeah, power, pretty much. New World is akin to the Americas. Yeah, pretty much. It's one of those things where you can create, you can look at them and look at things that are analogous. So you look at, if we go back to the map for a second. Actually, I can just pull up this map. It's not as simple as just like looking at these one-to-one, but this is broadly Western Europe. Aldenard is broadly Western Europe, Ilsabard is broadly Eastern Europe, and Othard is broadly Asia, with Hingashi being, Japan. I mean, but like Othard is also representative of like, there's 2 different Japanese histories going on here, because Othard is representation of both like Korea, a certain point in Japanese history during the Sengoku period, as well as China, and then Hingashi is much more representative of the Edo period. Pumpernickel and Abel, I love your little conversation going on in the bottom. Yeah, New World is bigger. It's huge. Does Mericidia have kangaroos or Crocodile Dundee types? Not necessarily that we know of. Did you know you could spin the world like that? And now I'm excited to go there too. Yeah. Are the Wallachoi considered a Native American equivalent to the New World? Yeah, they're basically. The Wallachoi, as far as we know, are, though they probably were part of a Hydaelyn migration at a different point in history, maybe during the 5th Umbral Calamity when the waters were frozen, possibly. It may be something else as well. We know the mammal jaw there are probably the most indicative of that, but we don't know how long the Wallachoi have been on the New World. We don't know if there are a group of Hyrs that have been there since the Sundering, or if they came around during a migration, because the one thing you can say about Hydaelyn history is that it's defined by Hydaelyn migration. What do we know about the New World? Only mentions of it, I suppose. We know about the Mammal Jaw a bit. We know about the Wallachoi. We know, like, the 2 different Mammal Jaw tribes. We know about a lot of the different food stuff. A bunch of Eorzean food stuffs come from there. There's a passage in... You know what? Since we're waiting for you guys real quick to get Swallow's Compass unlocked, why don't I just go ahead and read the passage that we have from E1. It is right here. The final of Hydaelyn's 3 major landmasses lies far to the west of Eorzea, beyond the boundless ocean known as the Indigo Deep. Despite the dearth of ancient epics and historical tomes to support the land's existence, as recently as 80 years ago, it was debated whether or not the place was not more than literary exaggeration. That is, until a Seawolf adventurer hailing from Limsa Lominsa, named Kennen Ram the Blue, rediscovered the region upon sailing west for nigh to Moon Strait. Notwithstanding the sailors' repeated attempts to name the region Kentonland, the New World remains the term most commonly used today. Not only did Kenton Ram and his crew discover the landmass, but they also spent several moons exploring the inland, eventually encountering the denizens of the sprawling nation of Mammal Ja. Kenton Ram was even granted audience with the nation's supreme leader, to whom he presented various gifts from his Eorzean home. These rare gifts impressed the leader so much that he presented Kenton Ram with a massive idol forged from pure silver, as well as an allowance to roam free about his nation during their stay. Kenton Ram used this opportunity not only to map the land, but to gather myriad of root vegetables and seeds to carry back to Limsa. Many staples in modern-day Eorzean diets, such as ogre pumpkins, ruby tomatoes, and popotos, and alligator pears, are all transplants from the New World. While distance prevents much modern-day interaction between the New World and Eorzea, recent years have seen an influx of Mammal Jaw mercenaries making the trip from their homeland to make a profit from the unrest in the east. So that's why there's a crap ton of Mammal Jaw all up in Lenosia, especially in Upper Lenosia, and why they're tied to the Wanderer's Palace Hard. They're all from the New World. Popotos, your lovely potatoes, are from the New World. There's another interesting point. Oh, literally, there was no charted safe passage between the New World and Eorzea up until about 20 years ago. Funnily enough, charted by Merlwyb Blufisfin, the current admiral of Limsa Lominsa. What do we know about the New World? Yeah, okay, got to that. Too bad they can't imagine a shard like FF7 technology advanced. I mean, the thing is, we're already approaching that. Like, the reality is that if you think about how technology has advanced in the 7th Astral Era, between literally the final years of the 6th Astral Era and today, the likelihood of the matter is that, like, 7th level technology is somewhat already present and could be relatively omnipresent within a lifetime, if not less. Meracidia does have centaurs, though. Yes, it does. Zervain's whole people. Aussie Catgirls and Meracidia confirmed? Not necessarily. That's been a widely popularized theory about Miqo'te being from Meracidia or in Meracidia. There could be some there, but we don't know for sure. Although there's one thing I could check to see if there is any population there, but they definitely aren't from there. I do know based on side content that Mammal Jaw have very offensive or disturbing dances. That is true. The Blue Mage quest pretty much displays the Wallaqui as stereotypical Native Americans. Yeah, I mean, I would say not necessarily with a negative connotation, but yeah. I do like the clothes of the Wallaqui wear. Yep. Lalafels come from the New World. Crazy. It'll be fun if the Admiral can come with us when we go to the New World. And I think that's part of why the New World there's a lot setting up the New World. There's 5.4, which is both dealing with Limsa Lominsa's past, but very much setting up characters and people for the New World. It also, we have the role quests, which the melee DPS role quest is hard setting up for the New World. Oh my god, wait, Pumpernickel, you haven't done it either? Okay, you two, let me know when you're ready to go. Just message. I've got it unlocked, not sure about the pumper. Okay, we'll go ahead and try Swallows and see if it just denies us, then that's fine. We can go pick it up. We don't want to. Okay. For Jade Stoa? I've got it unlocked. Yeah, with a combination of Garlean tech. Also, hi, yours truly. With a combination of Garlean tech and Charlian stuff, it's pretty achievable. Not just in the same aesthetic, probably. Yeah, definitely not. You think about, too, you've had the two nations that are most technologically advanced. Garlemald and Charlian. One was an empire not sharing its technology, and the other was an isolationist nation. You now have all the Garleans coming into the other populaces and bringing their technology, their ideas, and their awareness. And you have Charlian is now no longer isolationist. And so there's going to, not only has there been a flood and an influx of technology and technological advancement in the past decade, but holy crap, is there going to be one yet more. Got to get going now, 2 a.m. over here. Really enjoyed stopping by and appreciate all the answers to my seemingly obvious questions. I have a ton of fun answering them, so Knockout, never feel bad for asking anything, no matter how obvious it might feel. Have a great day, night, you too. The only way I can see Morlob coming with us in the world is if a new admiral is elected. She only held office for as long as she did due to the Garlean conflict. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if things change with that. Oh. Well, no, Pumpernickel, join back up. Here, we'll just do Jade unsynced quick. It'll be fine. Friends list. Okay, well. Okay, well. Abel, do you have anything you want to do in the meantime, or you just want to go ahead and do Compass? You let me know. I'm happy to do either. Charlene opening up isn't a flood. That's how the Hoover Dam of knowledge bursting entirely. That's the Hoover Dam of knowledge bursting entirely open. Yep, Hydra, that's a great way of putting it. Okay, let's do Compass then. We're gonna do it normal, we're not gonna do it synced. And I may be paying attention because we're not doing unsynced and I want to tank correctly. And if I'm playing tank, I full force. So if you guys chat for a little bit, no, it may take me a second before I respond. Hey, y'all. Let's do this. Oh, everyone's new. Oh, this'll be fun. Let's do it. I don't have dash. Why? Why do you not have dash at this level? At least I have part of my magic combo. Do I need to use combo? Let's go ahead and use it. Oh my god, I don't have my... I don't have a Holy Circle. What's the point? I hate playing non-90 Paladin. If that's the case, then I should just pull full melee out. How's everybody's health? Everybody's health's fine. Yeah, Pumpernickel, you won't be able to solo that at 70. I mean, you can. I know a warrior can at max level, max gear at 90, but it's not easy. She may just step down honestly and have Mistbeard take a. I don't think Mistbeard. I would doubt that it would be Enzar Slaverson. I would think it'd be someone else. I don't think it'd be someone like Sicard, because Sicard is, I think, being set up to be more of a player in possibly Mericidia or New World. But I could also see it someone like in the future over time become someone like Sicard. That's just my 2 cents though. Let's just give everyone Veil just in case. They have a competition for who takes office of Admiral, don't they? Yes, historically. Though, again, things are going to probably be different in the future because the norms of Limps and Mints are specifically changing. Love the music in here as always. Yep, totally feel you, Renzar. I remember grinding Compass for a full set of gear. One of the most painful moments in the game for me. So many runs, but there's so good lore. Well, honestly, really, there is. This is literally a Geomancer's mausoleum and the founder of Doma. So, like, there's half of my, like, half or more of our information on Geomancer comes from this dungeon. and also part of why the importance of Geomancer is such that there's just no way that we don't get one eventually. Maybe it's not a 7.0 job, but I do think it is a job that we get before the end of Final Fantasy XIV. There's just no question in my mind. How big are the AoEs from these? We're gonna find out. It's been. I don't think I've done this since I did it in. I mean, not MSQ, but 4 trials. Oh, they're not AoEs. They just move around. Okay, that's much easier to deal with. Give everyone a veil. I say that right before they explode, of course. Give me my atonement. Let me press atonement. Still got it. Yep, I'm good for seconds. As long as I got 8 seconds on Riot, I'm good. We're gonna take them out before these pop. I just gotta not get touched. Booyah. Geomantic Aetheryte. I don't think I have any B-roll of this. I need to make sure to get some B-roll after we finish this. No magic circle equals no life. Yep. Careful with the final boss here. Yep. The Geomancy here seems really rooted in a lot of Chinese elemental magic, doesn't it? It is. I mean, it's there's a bit of the difference being that there's a bit of classical Grecian in that it is air, wind, fire, and water rather than metal, wood, earth, air. Sorry, I forget the 5 from Chinese. I'm blanking. I'm also trying to focus. I'm sure one of you guys will correct me in the chat. My muscle memory ain't good. My muscle memory for 70 doesn't exist. It's all for 90. Unrelated, but in your Viera video, the part where you state male Viera often live alone and die alone confirmed that it was perfect choice for me. Ramsey, sorry. I'm glad you found something out that made you feel connected to them. I'm sorry it was something that was so dour. But, yeah. Male Viera have a rough go of it. They basically are raised... They're once they hit puberty, around like 12 or 13, as far as we know, they get taken by one of the other males, and are basically trained by them into adulthood, and then they're basically sent out to sink or swim, and they live alone after that until they potentially raise another young male. For it, there we go. Right, I keep going for magic because it's one of the more powerful combos at 90, but because it's single target, it's actually pretty bad now. I'm just gonna go ahead and skip it. We lost anyone? Nope, we're good. And I got Clemency if it's a problem. Might as well cast one since I got an insta-cast. Oh, why am I not pulling? I think Emmanuel is being set up more for New World than Sakara, personally. No, I would say, if anything, I'd put them together, like the way that they're set up in Endwalker. I don't necessarily agree. I think also that you look at the way that Limensons have connections to it. You look at how Sakara's connection to Merlwyb and her connection to, I'm forgetting his name, Company of Heroes, World Quest. I would say that Emmanuel is potentially being set up for more of an exploring role, but I wouldn't say in any way that him potentially being set... the way in which him and Sakaar have a rivalry, to my mind, puts them more together and is a further support of Sakaar being the New World. I would love to see playable Geo. I think it's coming. I may be wrong in my guess that it's 7.0, but I do not. I'm very, very certain that it will come, especially whenever we get to go to Hingashi proper. Let's wait for everybody. I'd like to take Merlweb with us on an adventure to the New World. Some additional character development would be interesting with characters like her taking more of an active role, maybe even our party. I mean, the fact that she knows the way, too. Okay, we'll give Kitsune a couple more seconds, and then we'll hit it. It kind of reminds me of Uncle from Jackie Chan Adventures. You remember his chant? Yeah. Yep. When has anyone ever seen Merlweb out of uniform and casual wear? I don't think there's any examples of her in casual wear. Now that I have a single target, my magic does work well. I guess other hand. And let's pop out a Royal Authority first. The land take you. Yeah, Healer's got it. Let her do her job. Without a veil, because it's gonna do it. Should have waited. Spread. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, that's fine. We can work with that. Sorry, Abel. Give our oh, that's gonna hurt. I got invuln if we need it. No, actually, we don't need limit break. It's a very pretty dungeon. I mean, not many of them aren't, though. Oh, oops. Has anyone ever seen? No, okay, no wonder I need the card from Jade, seeing as how I've never done it. Stormblood isn't expected. I spent the least amount of time in. Yeah, that would do it. God, I keep trying to dash. Thank you all for continuing to chat. It's lovely to actually have stuff to come back to check on. Sorry, I am in currently making sure that I do all my due diligence as a tank. Nimbus! Aw. aggro. Let's try to catch up where I can. It's wood, earth, fire, metal, and water. Thank you, AC. Which continent or area of Viera native into in the source? They are from the Golmore Jungle and the Skade Mountain Range, which is basically north of Dalmascan Desert, north for the Skade Mountain Range of the Dalmascan Desert, and west for the Golmore Jungle. Where you do the final Alliance raid for the Valise raid, that's the Golmore Jungle. And that's where the Viera are from on the source. You said you're pretty sure that the caster's next expansion will be Geomancer. Any ideas of what other will be? My money's on ranged DPS. Not sure what the archetype will be. Yeah, I've gone with ranged DPS. Typically, some people have thought Scout. I'm of the mind it's going to be ranged DPS. My pitch has been Chemist, but that's not rooted in... I don't have a good guess on what range DPS can be. That we've had some fun speculating. AC, you came up with, what was it? What was it? AC, you had a good one for a job idea. But I would, my guess is Geomancer hardcore and maybe something like a Chemist, which I believe would be a ranged DPS, not a healer. As for, I do think that if you look at the pattern of job release, the ones that what makes the most sense to have next is to have a caster and a DPS. That would also give you 4 and 4 for casters and a ranged DPS, which would allow for a lot of more interesting balancing choices because you'd have 4 of each role then and be even. You could do something like if you wanted to do split DPS where there's 2 ranged DPS that are support and 2 that are more damage. One's 2 or more slightly support and 2 or more slightly damage, and then you have casters where you have 2 that have res and 2 that don't. So you have like a Geomancer and a Black Mage being full-on damage, but then Red Mage and Summoner still have some like support abilities. Yep. It is, well, at least the inspiration for Son Goku. Both ends is that, and then the other one is both ends. Or do you look at, is it, okay, it's the electricity is out? Yeah, okay. Let's make sure people can get their positionals. Fucking monkeys. This is giving me flashbacks to Sekiro. God, I love using Passage of Arms. Is so good. fine. It's got electric. Oh boy, can I pull tether? No, I cannot. I know, I doubled. As soon as limit break hits, all you able. Which one's electric? Oh, that's not good. Yeah, I don't know why they were stacking on him. They could not follow. Let's go invuln just in case. Hit him good. Booyah. Well done. Okay, I'm going to stick around here for a second because I need to get B-roll of that Geomantic Aetheryte, but I'm also going to first respond to chat. Jesus Christ, you guys had a lot to say. Thank you. Which continent? You said that you pretty sure. I'm thinking about melee that shares with ninja. I think another melee that shares with ninja. Yeah, scouting, right? It's fun to think about how they built in the 10 years of Final Fantasy XIV. We now get to go to some of the places they mentioned. Please give us some more square. Yeah, totally, Renzar. Would imagine Geomancers have a system cross between Ninja and Mudras and Astrologian cards. I would also look at their Final Fantasy XI incarnation and prior incarnations. I would think it's also maybe something akin to if you played the Elementalist in Guild Wars 2. I think it would be more about balancing elements and having maybe different stances, which I guess is kind of like the Mudras and cards, but I think a little different. Oh, crap, I forgot to roll for loot. Okay, gotta go hope. Sorry, Power. Sorry I didn't say bye. It's our DBZ opening. The Undertaker, that was an idea for the caster DPS. Yes. You now do battle with the Great Sage equal to heaven. Steal yourself. Hey, Scribe. I always thought Gaia's Hammer would turn into some job weapon. I mean, we also already have warriors with hammers, potentially, but on top of that, we could see maybe something has hammers specifically. Maybe another tank. I've seen people say Puppeteer. I think Puppeteer, for me, is no question that if we get that, it's a limited job. But that's just my personal take. That's much more something like a Beastmaster. I also think the role of what a Puppeteer would be is kind of rooted in the same mechanical play idea of what a Beastmaster is, unless they make it drastically different. So I don't think impossible. I think there's history and legacy for it. I just personally would be surprised. Okay, let's return to get that B-roll. Who's Jet Li? Who, Jet Li? Not sure how that would work, though. Quentin Jasting is a corruption of Chinese Satan Taisei, also known as Sung Wukong. Yeah. Just thinking that Ki-chan is doing wushu stances. Hey, look, monkey business. They fight along with other elements, and the dungeons are all Journey to the West references, and I love them for it. Yeah, it's really good stuff. Should have brought my Karn hood. What would have Native Mirror City a job be like? We don't know. We just don't know. We don't know enough about Mirror City to make a really informed guess as to what they would be like. We could root them potentially in the groups that we know of from the populations for like Sephiroth or Sophia or Zervain, but I don't think those are necessarily hyper-representational of the broader world and or the what would be. I don't think there's a really easy way to make an informed guess. I think you could think that there might be a version of geomancy that exists on Mericidia because of how much it's associated with nature. That's not very okay. There's a straight on shot. And then I'm going to need an artsy shot. Let me reach out a little bit. Also, if you have not checked out Synodic Scribe's channel, you absolutely should. He makes awesome Final Fantasy lore content, and I'm very thankful that he comes and joins our stream, and I'm sorry if I never happen to join his stream whenever he has them, because I am constantly unaware of when people stream and usually busy whenever they are. That said, I appreciate you showing up every now and then. Should have brought my card. Would have known. Onion Knight or Freelancer is my most recommended for a limited job, returning of cross class. Yeah, something like an yeah. That idea for a limited job, I'd be down for. I'm down for a lot for limited jobs that I'm much less down for when it comes to actual jobs. My money is on something like a shaman, like from Eorzean. Yeah, AC, exactly. That's what my thought was. Like, if you think about the aesthetic arts that Gosetsu uses during the role quests in Endwalker, and you think about the history of geomancy, and you think about how we've seen practices from certain groups be expressed in a different way by other cultures and learned as a job in a different way. And I think you can absolutely reasonably think that it makes sense that... Let's get a more artsy shot. There we go. I think you could absolutely rationalize it something like a shaman. I think, though, you could also, because of shamanistic practices as they're described or seen in Native American cultures exist, you could also argue that that makes sense for the New World as well. You could also think that then, if you used Hingashi as a staging point to travel the New World rather than Limsa, it then, with Hingashi's legacy with geomancy and the idea of having parallels between that and the shamanistic practices potentially of the tribes of the New World, you then could think that there's an interesting corollary there to make a story around. I still want to say, judging by the fact that I want to do redos at Failed Ideas, we genuinely do not have a dot mage right now that will get time mage. We're not going to get time mage. Just not going to happen because of the fundamental problems that involves with the world and metaphysics and lore. And literally, they removed anything that could be kind of seen as time magey from Astrologian over time. We might get green mage, but like not time mage. I don't think it's, the other thing is I don't think, based on their statements so far, I don't think they're ever going to do a dot-focused class again. I do think if they were going to, Geomancer works as a dot-focused class if you want to do it that way. But I don't, they're stated that they don't want to do it that way recently as of post-Shadowbringers, and that's part of why they've gotten away with it. So true. Love his videos. Yes. Green Mage Crystal takes like Kiwi. Yeah. I'm good with that. Need to go and finish the quest. I'm down for helping anyone farm. Cool. Pumpernickel, we got you. Oh yeah, you just said green magic tastes like Kiwi. Did you get the thing done? And if not, let me go ahead and invite you, and then we can go get you the Jade Stoa done. Abel, you good if we go ahead and do this Jade Stoa real quick? God, this is one of my... I mean, obviously it's not my favorite map theme because Ultima Thule exists, but I really freaking love this map theme. Cool. Jade Stoa. I'm thinking green apple. See, but we have green apple for Bard already. So that's why it can't be green apple. Because we had an entire conversation about this a while ago where we determined the flavor of every one of the... Oh, right. You already tried it once. So you've already seen the video. Everyone good?
There is no turning back.
There are some jobs from Stranger of Paradise which they could steal, like Void Knight. Yeah, I think how different can you make Void Knight an identity from Reaper and Dark Knight at the same time, right? Like, that's the thing people have to remember, is that they have to have really clear, different identities from another job. And I'm not saying they can't. I just think that that's always worth considering and keeping in mind.
Twofold is my wrath, twice cast my bones.
Reason I would see a time mage as a dot mage is you could have it apply dots, but the dots do nothing until they expire, akin to Gaia's magic. Yeah, I just don't think you'd call that a time mage. I think you just introduce that into a different style of job, though, because the idea of a time mage, messing with time and continuity is such a specifically big thing within the confines of the lore, I don't think you'd ever classify that. I think you could do something like the Green Mage, which is sometimes what they've kind of put like Time Mage stuff under Green Mage, but I just don't think you ever get that nomenclature for it, personally. Yeah, I still need Jade Cult. We already got to that. We're in the middle of doing it. Guys, the biggest reason I'm wanting that, if you can't tell. Oh, yeah. Cucumber? I think what we came to is that we tried to avoid vegetables at all costs. So I think I'm going to go with kiwi for green rather than cucumber, but it's acceptable. And if there's another green, maybe we have to use it. In a live stream with the Primals, UGP went on stage with them for Amatsukaze Byaku's theme. Nice. Golbez could be a Void Knight in this incarnation, though that is very much encroaching on X-Death territory. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways they could frame it. I would put it, too, that his powers are going to be astral and void in nature, too. Probably. Presumably. I mean, I also don't know that I'd correlate him with any job. Because, I mean, we've had villains who we don't necessarily get their jobs. We also get villains like Ranjit, where we see a version of the Reaper under a very different context well before it ever comes, what the job we actually get comes around. I love this mechanic. I also love that just the way your Lalafell is falling. Oh, we don't have a reser. Oh well. Actually, no, I can't use it, man. Hit that funky music, White Tiger.
To ashes with you. Impressive. Very well, I shall bring all to bear.
Green Mage. So Green Mage historically. Also, hi, Rafagud, or Rafa GD, however you want to say it. Historically, it's been sort of a saboteur support, time magic-y style job as it's existed in past incarnations, though not exclusively. So you could imagine it as either a support a support caster, or potentially another healer. There's a bunch of different ways you could choose to take it. By the way, I really enjoyed the Jobstone video. Awesome, Dragonstar, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It seems to be doing really, really well. We got like 700 subscribers in the past like 2 days, and that thing has over 20,000 views, which is higher than like our next highest, which came out almost a year ago at this point. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. Ranjit, I could see as a Reaper, Monk, and combined. Not too much stretch either, considering Thanker is Gunbreaker, unable to manipulate Aether and still uses ninja skills. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is most NPCs, you have characters who are, like you have Y'shtola, who uses Black Magic and Conjuring. Like you have, that's a very common thing for NPCs, and that's why it's you gotta be very careful about representing whether or not what part of what they are is going to in any way be a job. We've even seen some jobs use abilities that are effectively the same animation but different names. Booyah. Let's get back to... Oh, nope, my return's still in phone. Well, I'll just go ahead and go to hang out in the crater then. Or actually, I can just... Okay. Abel, Pumpernickel. Yeah, if you want the card, it's best to do the EX at that point. What do either of you have left? Do you have anything that you need to get done? Because if not, we're running up on time here. But I'd be happy to run any last thing if you have it. I remember, like 2 days after Endwalker came out, no, it must have been 4 days, because I had finished the story at this point. I went to Mare Lamentorum, and I just hung out here for an hour and had an hour-long film of the planet spinning. And then I sped that up, and I made a video of the planet, like, spinning, like, you know, like, in, not real time, obviously, but so you could see it actually moving, and put the music for this underneath it. And that's the only video I've ever had taken down. I put it on the other channel, and understandably, Square Enix copyright struck that one. But I literally put it up as just an hour long of Mario Lamentorum, relax and chill, because I wanted to listen to it. I was wondering if we could get Garleans as a race. I know them don't use magic, but if one was a wool, they could imagine. No, if one was a wool, they still wouldn't be able to, because your soul is not necessarily dictative of your physiology. And okay, to be fair, yeah, there's extenuating circumstances with the ways in which Xenos, before having the resonance, was able to use certain ethereal manipulation, and it's also a weird case all around. So potentially, maybe you are right. A warrior, a Garlean with an Asm soul maybe could. I would still be inclined to think it'd be relatively, but the thing is, you can't, because if you are a Garlean for the story, there's too many implications for the MSQ that creates fundamental problems. You can fan theory very easily that you're half Garlean, because as long as you only have one parent who's Garlean, you wouldn't have the Garlean eye. Alamigo. Okay, let's do Alamigo quick then. We'll do that as the final one, just to make Hydra feel sad. I always forget that it's so low down. Am I unsynced? Yeah. Let's do it. But there's too many implications. I think, would it be fun if they implemented a Garlean eye as an aesthetic thing that you could, like a collection thing that you could put on your face or something? Sure, I'd be down for that. But I think there's too many problems that arise narratively from being a full-blooded Garlean. But that's my take, Rafa. I'm also not an end-all be-all. Like, I'm not a... But from everything I understand about lore and the narrative, I would really doubt it. And the thing is if by the time that it would be okay post, let's say post, when it makes sense post 6.0, well, people, you can't... The Warrior of Light's story doesn't just fully restart. We're not a brand new character after 6.0, and so even doing New Game Plus then becomes a difficulty. I'm good. I can always get my girlfriend to help me out or other thing. Okay, cool. Well, maybe one of us will get the mount. God, the moon is so somber and chilling. I love it. Me too, yours. Sometimes I'll just hang out on Mare because it's just beautiful and haunting. Indeed, Hydra. You cannot escape it. Garlean Third Eye, Fashion, etc. Yeah, I think that's possible. I wouldn't say that's a foregone conclusion that they wouldn't do that. I thought I heard somewhere that they might be moving towards more original jobs like Reaper, or am I just making that up? If I'm not, do you think that's possible? I think that's absolutely possible. I think if not even possible, very likely, because one, Sage is damn near effectively a new job. The new lists are brand new. Even though the name of the job and the idea of it as a healer has existed in the past. I think they're running out of archetypes. One of the reasons I think Geomancer is likely is because there's a long history of it in the game in multiple cultures, and on top of that, it has a legacy in other Final Fantasy games. But it wouldn't have made sense in Endwalker, so they're not going to pick it. I would think that most jobs, not all, but most jobs you see from here out are going to be semi-original to 14. Though, probably rooted in something, or at least inspired by something that exists in other media. But if you look at Reaper, Reaper is functionally only really existed in 14, and all of its lore is directly tied to Garleans and the Void, which are very specific to 13. I guess technically the Void is, in a sense, also the World of Darkness and tied to 3, but you get the point. Watchtower is a nice spot to craft. Watcher's Tower, yes. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? I don't actually spend a lot of time in there. I usually am just hanging out, staring out into the stars on Mare, but that, yeah. Okay. Dash, how I missed you. I also really love the lock theme and the theme that's being used, version of it being used here for Alamigo. Especially the night version is very lovely. Closest comparison to Reaper and FF before then this is Necro and 2, and nope, still not happening. Yeah, Necromancer will never happen. I should never say never. I don't like using declaratives on that, but both from developer statements, from an in-lore perspective, there's just no way to make Necromancer work that doesn't make you effectively evil. And doesn't make you effectively, like, would be shunned by everyone. I'm usually on the roof myself. Nice, Dragonstar. What are you all farming for, by the way? So, for community events, what I do is I log on and I ask anyone in the chat and anyone, hey, is there anything you need to get? Or is there a minion you need to get? A triple triad, a mount? Do you need to finish a trial you haven't done? You know, like today we've farmed for mounts and the triple triad card and helped both Pumpernickel complete a dungeon they hadn't done and, Pumpernickel complete a trial they hadn't done and Abel a dungeon they hadn't done. So right now we're farming for the Predator mount from Alamigo, which has a relatively low drop rate. But hopefully at least one of us will get it. I find it interesting that Garlean assassins use one of the most visceral of weapons as the tool for assassination. A large scythe. Not very discreet, just meant to put the fear of gods in you. I mean, that's the thing too, right? As much as they're assassins, a very important part of their lore is they are also kind of a PR campaign. They are the shadows in the night that defend Garleans. And having a silhouette and being a representation of terror is just as important as the act of slaying that they do. So it also is a byproduct of it arose from the original Garleans who became Reapers were farmers, and so they all had scythes, and that was the only weapon they had access to. And so it rose out of that. I still hope Judge will be a job one day. I don't know how you... The thing is, judges are already a thing within the confines of the lore with Boja and like the armor and stuff. I don't know how you make Judge a job. I also don't know... How do you... What is... Pitch me, like, what is the fundamental mechanics, underlying mechanics of a job that make it unique or interesting? What role is it? What defines it other than just being aesthetics, right? Like, aesthetically cool. I do love Judge armor, but we do have that from Baja, so, like, you could always get it from there. Necro was already a stretch in 2. The possibility of it coming back as a non-villain anti-hero job is very unlikely. I agree, Hydra. Relatively low is a massive understatement, but yes, yeah. I mean, like, you never want to say never, right? Because they may change their mind and stuff. They may find a rationalization. But at the same time, I just can't. There are a lot of other things I would imagine first. Judges are just Garlean paladins in this game, for better or for worse. Yeah, effectively. I mean, yeah. No offense, but Judge helmets look very hard to wear. Rest of the armor is fine. Yeah, quite a few of them are living nightmares. But then again, a lot of the armor in this game is living nightmares. Speaking of helmets that are hard to wear, I present to you Xenosia Galvis. Because, I mean, his armor, let alone his helmet, is a nightmare. The relatively low quote was in reference to the Predator drop rate. Ah, yes. I will say it also still works for Necromancer as well. Ane no Habakiri.
The power to transcend.
Eat a dick. Let's see what we get, boys. We dreamed. We dreamed the dream. I need to go turn in a lot of that crap. Cool. Okay. So, with all that said, one little thing. So we have a lot of EU viewers, and I was thinking I'm definitely moving MSQ back an hour. So it's going to be 1 hour earlier than it has been because it'll make a lot of their lives easier, including our moderators. But I'm also thinking about moving community stream back 2 hours. So we would start at probably 4 p.m., maybe 3 p.m., and end at 6 p.m. It's 8 p.m. for me now currently, so it'd be 2 hours earlier from wherever you are currently would be the end point. If there are any of you who that would literally make it impossible for you to see community streams or be a part of them, if you want to be, please let me know, so I can try to figure out timing for that. With that said, let me read the last little stuff here. Judges can hit you with gavels. I guess the mech is always a nightmare with sprout tanks. I still haven't seen the Crimson Lotus new list have this scythe though. Yeah, cool. General housekeeping. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to join our community and talk lore or any other fun Final Fantasy XIV stuff, you can go join our Discord. There should be a link in the description. If you'd like to support us and help make this whole thing a lot more viable, as well as help me to produce more videos in the future, you can join us on Patreon, as well as super chats here on YouTube, but that's separate. We have community streams every Saturday. We have MSQ every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. New videos go out every Wednesday and possibly other days, depending on if things get done ahead of schedule. We have, every Friday, we have Lore Book Club, if you're interested in that, where we're currently going over Encyclopedia Eorzea 1 chapter by chapter, and we do that every Friday. The event for that is in the Discord as well, so you can find that there. Yeah, with all that said, thank you so much for watching, everyone. This has been lovely, and I hope to see some of you guys over in MSQ on Monday. And I hope you have a lovely weekend all around. To put it simply, give streamer money. I'm trying to have a little more tact than that, Abel. But yes, it is helpful. It allows for better, more, and greater content creation. Yeah. Cheers, everyone. Or page by page. Also fair, Ariel. Also fair. And on that note, cheers all.